Welcome back to Adventures with Bam. I'm Brent Billings.
And I'm Maggie Billings.
And this episode has us sorting through the wreckage of Maggie's sabbatical. Well, yeah, that's what you told me to say.
I didn't think you were going to actually do it. I was mostly joking. I wouldn't call it the wreckage.
Well, that's what I was surprised about. I was like, okay,
okay, whatever you say.
I haven't really heard this. I was saving it for the show.
You were like, oh, wow, really? I mean, I wouldn't.
I'm sure I've heard bits and pieces, but I haven't heard the full, let's sit down and talk about what your assessment is of your whole sabbatical.
You experienced it in real time, so I don't think we've needed to sit down.
Sure.
Anyway, so I took a sabbatical from my job.
Listeners to episode 66 are aware of this.
Yes. I don't know who's jumping around in episodes on our podcast.
You never know.
You never know.
You can't control how people listen to these things, so
can't do it.
We'll just say that.
We won't
follow up to 66.
Yeah. So I have been at my job for 10 years. I love it so much. I will, I've told people the only thing that could make me leave this job is if we move overseas.
Listeners to episode 67 know that.
Wow. We've talked about that.
We talked about your job. We did a whole episode on your job.
True. Anyway, it was, how long was it? 6 weeks total? 7 weeks total?
6 weeks.
It was going to be, so it was only going to be 4 weeks. That was the plan. And then the way the dates worked out, it ended up being 6, because I think one of the weeks was a day that I had already scheduled off because it fell on Torrin's birthday. And I wasn't going to, my sabbatical was going to be, I'm going to have this number of days actually to myself. Taking the day off for Torrin's birthday doesn't count for my sabbatical. And then the 7th week, which was going to be the week that I, would go back to work. I found out after I scheduled it that we're actually closed that day. It was Good Friday and we weren't going to be open anyway. So I ended up getting an extra week there, unexpected. It was really good. I think when I was going into it, a lot of people were like, oh, are you going to travel? What are you going to do? And I had to let them down gently and explain that I'm not taking a sabbatical from my life. I'm just taking a sabbatical from my Fridays. The rest of my life, momming and homeschooling and teaching violin, none of that is changing. Just my Fridays. Instead of getting up and going to work, I would get up and go do whatever I wanted for the same amount of time that I would typically be at work. So most weeks would look like me getting up really early and going for a long walk and going and reading at a coffee shop for a few hours. A couple rounds of, thrifting is always fun. Yeah, I feel like the bulk of it was spending time outdoors and just reading and journaling. But it was really nice each week looking forward to Fridays and going okay, I know that I have a break coming up, and just having a consistent break each Friday for several weeks was really sweet. So I feel like a lot of it, so our rental property in another state that I've briefly mentioned, court things are happening, and that was supposed to be wrapped up, that was supposed to be finalized and done at a court date that fell on the first day of my sabbatical. So going into it, I was like, this is amazing timing. I'm going to have this hearing at 7 a.m. And then boom, it's done. And my sabbatical, this is off my plate. It's really been weighing on me. This is going to be so restful. And guess what? It wasn't. It was adjourned for 6 more weeks. And I was like, oh, cool. So that's not there. So that did not come off of my plate at all, and continued to be a source of stress. So it was really unfortunate that I felt like that situation continued to weigh on me really heavily for a good chunk of my sabbatical. But I was really mindful and intentional on Fridays to try to turn off that part of my brain and just go, I'm not going to think about the rental stuff. I'm not going to think about this other stuff. I'm just going to focus on what I have in front of me this day. And right now I have 8 hours of time to go on a walk and to read a book and go drink coffee and eat warm food that somebody else cooked and somebody else is going to wash the dishes. So yeah, that situation, I think, kept it from being as restful as it could have been. But what are you going to do? You can't win them all.
No, we cannot.
No, it doesn't feel like we're winning. There's a lot of things that feels like we're not winning right now.
I feel like of all the situations, we'll probably talk about that one first.
Yeah, when it's resolved.
I don't know.
We're
see.
So close.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I keep thinking that.
I feel like we're close on a lot of stuff, and it's just none of it's as close as we want it to be.
Oh, Lord help us. Anyway, sabbatical. Yeah, I feel like, and then it was, so I think 2 weeks or maybe 10 days before I went back to work, we actually had our staff retreat. And a couple people were like, oh, but you're on your, on your sabbatical, are you going to go to the staff retreat? And it's like, I love our staff retreat.
I was one of those people.
You were one of those people?
Yeah.
I can't remember. There were a handful of people that asked me, and a handful of coworkers too, who were like, oh, we won't see you. I was like, you will see me. I always love our staff retreats. They're always a good time. I come back refreshed. It helps when you love your coworkers too. Like, we all get along really well. We have a great time together. The only thing that I was a little nervous about going into it was, like, I just didn't really want to talk shop a whole lot. I mean, talking about, there's two different parts of the job. There's the very, like, missional part of it. And then there's, when you get into the weeds about systems and policies and changes and things like that. I could talk about the mission side of it, for the rest of my life and never get bored. And not that I get bored with the in the weeds things, but I didn't want to take a break and then go spend the weekend with these people that I love and then just talk about, like, policy changes and things, because I knew that they were working on some stuff, and I was like, I just want to relax and enjoy this time. And when I tell you that it was the chillest retreat we have ever done, like, we got a huge Airbnb on, was it Harrison Lake? Hauser Lake?
Hauser.
Yep. It was beautiful. Like, nobody talked about work at all. I honestly don't know how we did it.
And you made some kind of stop on the way there, right?
Did we? Oh, yeah, we did. We did a couple scavenger hunts at different thrift shops in Spokane.
Okay.
With, like, lists of, here's some different things to look for in this shop, and guess what price you think it's going to be. And
but wasn't there some other kind of scheduled stop?
To
get something.
You're trapping me right now.
I'm not trapping you. I'm just
after our
full disclosure.
Last episode on addiction. So
you have
here's the thing.
You have wielded your influence in the world, and I'd like to know how that has played out.
So because Friday nights are ice cream night in my house, and there's typically a part of the retreat that happens on a Friday night. Like, our retreats, like, you spend all day together and then we watch movies in the evening. And
sure, like, Friday night movie.
What is the point of watching a great movie surrounded by people you love and not having ice cream? Like, what? How? Why?
And
why would you ever?
Have made this argument so fiercely that there is now a scheduled ice cream stop.
It is now an official part of the itinerary for our retreat, that the final stop that we make before we get to the Airbnb is to, whatever grocery store is nearest the Airbnb so we can pick up ice cream.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Because if you pack it up from Moscow, like, is it going to stay frozen the whole way, especially if we're making stops for lunch, blah, blah, blah. So you have to pick it up last. So, and this year it was like, we packed, like, not just the ice cream, but toppings too. We had a whole, like, Sundae bar set up and watched A Knight's Tale. But anyway.
I love that you just mansplained ice cream.
I don't think
you can't leave the ice cream sitting around too long or it won't last.
I'm just some people don't really like ice cream. Like Carly, my best friend, she's not a big, like, I'm really not smart about wine. She's that way about ice cream. So she's like, usually when she comes down for a visit, And like she'll pick up a bottle of wine when she comes down for us to share when she's, here for a weekend. And she's like, what do you like? And I'm like, I don't wine. Like, you do the wine and I will drink it. You pick out what's going to be good. Like, I don't know anything about any of this stuff outside of like red and white and rosé. Well, one time I had her pick up ice cream and she picked up fat-free vanilla. And I was like, Carly, what is this abomination that you've brought into my home? She's like, is this good? I was like, no, this is the worst. This is the worst possible ice cream you could have picked. She's like, I'm sorry. So yeah, we both know our place now. She does the wine. I do the ice cream. We have our gifts and we lean into those. But anyway, the retreat. Sorry, this is going way longer than I expected. Retreat was good. It was super chill. We sat around. People played games. We ate. We watched movies. We did a talent show. Jumped in the lake. There was a hot tub. Like, it was so chill. It was really nice to just relax and have that have that be a bit of a like soft re-entry, like get to hang out with people and, catch up after a few weeks off before jumping back into work 10 days later. And so it was good. And then when I returned to work, there were some proposed like sort of structure changes. So we've been trying that out for the last few weeks and it's been really good. I feel like it's been great just for my mental load and ability to like show up at work and do what I can without feeling like I'm overwhelmed or like I'm taking on too much. So I think overall the sabbatical was really good for my mental health, just to take a break and have some time to read books. Like, I hadn't finished a book in years and it was like, oh, now I've read 1.5 books. Yeah. So it was a really good time. And I know that it is it's a privilege. Not everybody can take a sabbatical or gets to. And the fact that my job was very supportive of me doing that and very flexible with the dates and everything like that was huge. So yeah, I just feel very honored and supported in that sabbatical. So it was great.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks for being part of it. I don't know.
Well,
thanks for letting me sabbat.
Hopefully next time it will involve less outside drama.
Oh my gosh. Next time, I hope I don't need another sabbatical anytime soon.
I mean, you're supposed to take a sabbatical on a 7-year cycle or something.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah, I could do that. So I was 3 years overdue at that point.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
7. You're supposed to take the sabbatical before you truly need it.
Yeah, and that was the issue. Was I was very past due. It's tricky though when you have kids because it's like, well, I don't know.
I'm sure. Yeah, no, there's all sorts of complications.
You want to be a good employee, and it's not always a good time to be gone for several weeks. And yeah, so but I'm really glad it worked out. I'm very thankful.